All in Sports Network. We love sports.
It is Wednesday, September 24th, right here on your daily fix for all things Texas Longhorns. I'm Tanner Carlson. That is Jake Jimerson, and this is All in Horns, presented to you by Rogue Sports Network. And Jake, some injury news, and it's a legit bummer. I don't care what anybody says. I don't care what any Longhorn fan, non-Longhorn fan, accuses of Longhorn fans of thinking here. Some injury news for the quarterbacks of the upcoming next two games that the Longhorns play. DJ Lagway walking around in a boot. Don't know how serious it is. I know in college athletics, you can get put in a boot for stubbing your toe in the morning on your bedside table. Like
you can get that in high school.
Yeah. So
there was a lot of weeks where I wore a boot all week and then I was playing on a Friday.
So don't really know a whole lot about the DJ Lagway's availability, especially this week while Texas is on a bye. Florida also on a bye. And we will go into that game both getting a little bit of extra rest. And so don't know about the DJ Lagway story. Just know that he was seen on campus walking around on a boot again. It could be you stubbed your toe, you have an ingrown toenail. I don't know. Like it could be anything. The real unfortunate news here is the John Mateer thumb surgery. He's going to be out at least 2 to 3 weeks, is what I heard, and going to be in serious question of the Red River game.
Very likely out.
And
very
that's
likely out. Three weeks, from what I was reading, 3 weeks seems more like the minimum, but I'm sure they're going to be getting the best doctor and the best treatment for him. And I really hope he plays.
Yeah.
For an assortment of reasons. One, the game is more fun when both teams are healthy. It was never fun when Texas was very banged up during the Charlie Strong and Tom Herman eras. Even every now and then during the Mac eras, Texas sometimes would have a very banged up team. And that wasn't fun for Texas fans. It didn't stop OU fans from talking smack. And now they use the excuses, which is the other part of this, which is I don't want OU fans to have excuses if they lose this game.
I don't want to have to hear, oh, well, you had to play the backup quarterback. If Mateer played.
They said that last year, by the way. They were playing their starting quarterback at the time. Jackson Arnold was benched. So they just I don't know what to say about that other than that, but it just stinks because I don't want players to get hurt. And then it just stinks because I want to see this defense against him. I want to see them play against that level of competition that a quarterback that's been playing very well. And see him work. And also you do kind of got to give some props to Mateer. You can't question his toughness. He broke that in the first quarter of the game. So he played the rest of that game with a broken thumb on his throwing hand and led them on a game-winning drive. That you can't doubt his toughness. So if there's a player who can come back and play a couple weeks after he gets the surgery, I wouldn't be surprised if it's John Mateer, considering he played 3 quarters, led a game-winning drive with a broken thumb against Auburn.
No, and again, I want this Texas team to go up against a fully healthy OU team and leave no questions, ifs, ands, or buts about who is the better team after the fact. And it's really going to suck if Texas has to go up against Michael Hawkins Jr. again next year, or like they did last year, and go up against him again this year. Texas wins this game, and it's just kind of, Texas wins by, maybe 2 possessions, 10 points, whatever it is, 14 points. And we just have to hear, or what if OU loses their, a game in between now and then?
That's not happening. They play Kent State.
Okay. And that's it. Oh yeah. Then they have a bye week before Texas. That's right. So
yeah, it's why my concern level for that game is through the roof, because the scheduling works out horrible for Texas. You think Brent Venables is getting essentially 3 weeks to prepare for Texas.
Yeah, because you can
Steve
just skip
Sarkisian's getting 1, or at least when it comes to actually showing the team stuff in practice. The Texas staff is preparing for OU. They probably have already prepared a ton for OU, along with Georgia and everyone else on the schedule. But they can't sneak that into practice when you got to get ready for Florida. Florida may be a 1-win team, but they've played one of the hardest schedules in the country to this point, if not the hardest. And their defense is really good. You can't prepare for OU while getting ready for Florida. OU can prepare for Texas while having a bye and having Kent State.
Yeah, no, you're exactly right. And so, yeah, again, I want this Texas team to get full credit for beating an OU. It sucks whenever you get half credit for something, and it's like, yeah, but if, and once you get those, yeah, but what if only, when you get those statements before any type of conversation of Texas's schedule, it just it really is, especially whenever it's against your biggest rival. And again, just at the end of the day, Jake, the Red River rivalry is my favorite game of the year. I like whenever it's exciting. I like when it's a good game. Like I like kicking OU's ass
And
49 to
it could
0.
still be a good game because that OU defense is. I still
Sure.
think. I don't think it changes. The funny thing is I don't think it changes how the flow of the game is going to be that much. I don't think Mateer and OU's offense would just light up this defense.
No,
And I
I don't
definitely
think
don't
so.
think the Texas offense is going to have a ton of success against OU's defense.
But
I think this game's still just going to be
Mateer is a Heisman caliber guy that can take over a game or change the outcome of a game in a couple of possessions.
some people think that, yes. I wouldn't go as far just because he was up there on the Heisman list. I wouldn't call him a Heisman. He was just there because he plays for OU and they beat a bad Michigan team and they scraped away at home against Auburn and Jackson Arnold, who got sacked 10 times because he holds on to the ball for 50 hours and the refs screwed them so bad they had to release a statement. Yeah, you want to talk about buts
Yeah,
on
but
winning? Yeah, OU has one of those. So they're
no,
bragging through the wind about barely beating Auburn at home with the officials helping them. But I guess they're used to the officials helping them over the years. So,
yeah, they've had a lot.
but yeah, it's just disappointing. And I hope Lagway plays. We didn't get to see Texas play against Lagway last year. It would have made no difference in the outcome of the game because Lagway doesn't play defense. But this year, you imagine it's going to be a little bit more low scoring. I think it'd be a good test. And I want to see this Texas team tested. Because at the end of the day, if they can't beat good teams when they're healthy, they're not going to do anything in the postseason, even if they make it to the playoffs.
Yeah.
And at this point, I think that's what we all want to see this program do next is win those big games. And they won, a couple playoff games last year, and those were big wins. But we want to see them take down a Georgia, take down an Ohio State. When especially in the postseason, more so than the regular season, and take down an OU team that's getting a lot of praise and highly ranked, and a lot of it's because their quarterback's a one-man show on offense, and now he's hurt. So
Yeah,
just stinks.
and that's the thing, is that their offense does run through him almost 90% of their offensive
He's
yards
their
and
leading
touch.
rusher. He's,
Yeah,
I
yeah.
mean, their running backs are pretty much dead last in almost every SEC category.
They're obsolete. All right, Jake. Hey, let's go ahead and hear from our sponsors at Underdog, and we'll be back to give our picks. Football is back, and Underdog is the best place to make picks and win money all season long. Playing on Underdog is easy. Just pick whether your favorite players will go higher or lower on stats like touchdowns, receiving yards, interceptions, and more. Get your picks right, and you could win up to 5,000 times your cash. You can play with as little as $1. Download the app today and sign up with promo code HORNS to score $50 in bonus funds when you play your first $5. That's promo code HORNS. Millions of fans have already won billions making picks on Underdog. Will you be next? Underdog, make picks, win money. All right, Jake, this is what I like. I'm liking the Notre Dame Arkansas game, and I'm going to kind of hone in on that game specifically. I like Jadarian Price. I've had more success going higher on Jadarian Price's numbers than I have on Jeremiah Love, which is exactly why I'm going lower on Jeremiah Love. I think predicting him to anybody to go over 100 yards, nonetheless over 103, is a wild move. So I'm taking lower on Jeremiah Love, and I'm going higher on Jadarian Price. I buy stock in Price. I'm selling on Love. And then Taylon Green, in terms of pass and rush total yardage gained against this Notre Dame defense, I'm taking higher than 310.5 on Taylon Green's total yards performance.
Yeah, I didn't have college available to me yet. I think it's just because we're in different states, so they have to come out at different times. I really like your Taylon Green one, by the way. Fun fact: if Arkansas was undefeated, Green would be very high on the Heisman race with
I
his
agree.
numbers this year.
He's
He
played
is
very well this year.
really good. He's one of the best if not the best quarterback Texas will play against this year. Diego Pavia right there as well, obviously. For me, I went the NFL route since I couldn't go with college. I like Bijan Robinson to go higher than half a rush or receiving touchdown. I feel like the offense should run through him against the Commanders. Josh Allen going higher than 1.5 passing touchdowns against a porous Saints team that felt like just an automatic hit it and think about it later. Just like any quarterback against the Dallas Cowboys defense going higher than 1.5 passing touchdowns. Russell Wilson cooked them. Caleb Williams cooked them. Jordan Love has already cooked them in the playoffs where people were running wide open before. It's going to be very similar to that, if not worse. He probably hits this in the first quarter.
Hey, permission to ride with you on that one, Jake?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, I like it. I actually
I
like
tried to
all
do
of those.
more against the Cowboys defense, but it only lets you combine so many because otherwise they know you're cheating. And it is cheating whenever you're picking someone else to go higher against the Alice Cowboys because, as Stephen Smith said, actually, and we've said this before in other years when they've had terrible defenses, they don't have a D in Dallas right now, so we leave it out whenever we talk about the Alice Cowboys.
The Alice Cowboys. All right, Jake. Not a whole lot more to talk about. Texas on a bye week, obviously. They're going to be prepping for Florida, but I think this is a good week more specifically to work on themselves. And one of those things that going back and listening to some of the post-game interviews, podcasts, things like that, Chase Daniels made an appearance on a podcast recently, and he was asked about Arch Manning and kind of how he felt about him. And he had a really good take of saying, look, we spent hours with this team. We spent a couple hours talking to Sark. We spent an hour or so with a handful of players, Arch being one of them, and just recognizing that this team or Arch's real problem was all between the ears. It was all mental overspec, or he was just being overly critical of himself, of his play, of his teammates' play, and putting a lot of pressure on himself, being able to get that out in the game and play well. Apparently, leading up to the Sam Houston game, and you hear this all the time, which Chase Daniel prefaced, but he had apparently had the best practice that he's had all season long, going back to the offseason in the summer and then going up. And he said they had a good on good period, which is 1v1s scrimmage in practice. And Arch Manning made a play where he split two defenders with a sidearm throw on a third down and hit the receiver just perfectly right between the numbers in a small window. And it was a huge turning point in that scrimmage. And with Arch Manning's swag and his competitive, obviously, that we saw against Sam Houston State, standing over the defender and getting as fired up as he did on the sideline, screamed at the defense, I'm back. I'm back. And hearing that story, hearing Chase Daniels tell that story, and just kind of having that feeling of this team might have worked out some kinks and they might be ready to really show up big time next week following their bye week.
Yeah, I mean that's what you gotta hope, right? Sam Houston's terrible, but at the same time, Arch was just missing open guys in previous games, even against Ohio State. He was the other biggest thing that stood out to me, because actually before we recorded this, I was flipping through on YouTube. You can find the full game, and I was just flipping through every pass, just watching it, trying to analyze it a little bit. And he bolted the ball so much less in this game. He wasn't just throwing it a million miles per hour. He was layering the ball really well. He was putting touch on it. He wasn't just trying to throw it a million miles per hour. And if he can just stick to that and just play within himself, this offense can have success against good defenses. They weren't that far off from having a good game against Ohio State if he just hits some passes. They win that football game if Arch plays average, without a doubt, I think. And the offensive game plan was fairly vanilla in that because you were going in with a very young team. There's a reason they didn't commit as many penalties on offense in that game. It's because Sark made the game plan more vanilla for that purpose. I think you're not going to see that now that we're starting Florida OU. You might see more pre-snap penalties, unfortunately, but I think it's because Arch knows that, or Sark knows that he's got to put everything he can into the scheme and open up the playbook, as much as possible. But I think we're going to see a lot more of his misdirection screens. We're going to see a lot of motion. We're going to see a lot of misdirection plays that he's already been starting to mix in just a little bit in these last couple games. But if Arch can play like that, keep the confidence going, and like you said, use this week to just get better within the program, get healthy, get the mentals right, feed off the confidence of beating a cupcake like Sam Houston State, and get rolling when you go into the swamp. I feel really good about Texas's chances. And most importantly, I just want to see the offense play really well against if the offense plays really good against Florida, I'll be feeling very confident about the rest of the season because we know the defense is really good.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. And it really starts to make things wiggle in places on me, thinking about the potential of this offense coming to fruition and playing to its highest capabilities, and you pair that with the defense. Yeah, I start getting pretty excited about where this team could possibly be headed. Again, that's on top of knowing Mississippi State is a much better team. That's on top of
That
Vanderbilt
game
playing.
scares the piss out of me.
Yeah, that's
Going to Mississippi
including
State.
Vanderbilt playing and looking like a top 10 team in the country right now. And
Yeah,
that's not
this soft
including
schedule isn't so soft now, by the way.
absolutely not. Absolutely not. That's going to Georgia. That's hosting A&M. And that's also taking on Florida and Oklahoma along with the Mississippi State. And we're not even mentioning Kentucky. Kentucky doesn't look great. Arkansas, Jake, we just mentioned it. Taylon Green might be the best quarterback on the schedule, especially if John Mateer is absent in that Red River rivalry game. And so it's going to be a grind really all season long for this Texas team to finish the regular season 2 losses, 3 losses, and maybe knocking on the door to the playoffs. It's going to be tough just to do that. Not nonetheless being a 5 seed shoe-in automatic bid for the playoffs and don't have to worry about it.
Yeah, I mean, Texas has just got to worry about themselves right now. It's cliche, but it really is that simple. This team has all the pieces to be really good, but they just have to improve week to week because, like you said, the schedule's tough. It's not going to be easy to come out. I mean, 10-2 was my prediction. That was before seeing how good Vanderbilt looks, how good Mississippi State looks. A&M looking like they're maybe a little stronger than expected. OU's defense is still going to be a big problem. Even if Mateer's not playing, that game's not just a shoe-in win for Texas with how good that OU defense is and how good their strengths line up against Texas's weaknesses on the offensive end. So yeah, Texas just needs to, this bye week, like you said, just going to come at a better time. And I'm excited to see how they can hopefully grow now that we're getting into the real games. It's been a weird season. You had Ohio State to open up in what was a very weird kind of conservative game by both teams. And then you've had 3 cupcakes. And the sky's been falling during some of those games. But now they come out of it, and now the real season starts. Sark actually referenced these first games in his press conference. He called it the preseason.
Yeah.
And he's done that in other years too. And I think you're going to see that with how he treats these upcoming games.
Yep. All right, Jake, let's go ahead and wrap up the episode. Again, Texas on a bye week, so we're releasing these episodes Monday through Friday. We're already halfway through the week. We've got 2 more episodes this week, and we'll give you a couple more updated information as we move along throughout the week. Some recruiting news coming up, also some future scheduling news. Yes, we did see the upcoming schedule. We won't discuss that for a couple of days though, just because running out of time here, and there are some other storylines that we wanted to hit in tomorrow's episode. But with all that being said, it's also a bye week. We're trying to stretch out the news front as much as we possibly can. So that's Jake Jimerson. I'm Tanner Carlson. Please continue to like, share, and subscribe to the channel. We appreciate all the support. As always, ladies and gentlemen, hook 'em.
All in Sports Network. We love sports.